Hello and welcome to another tutorial on my channel Create by Kay. For this pattern I go and chain multiple of 5 plus 2. Start with my slip knot and now I chain 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and I add 2 more, 1 and 2. Now for row 1 I go with my hook in each chain, make a loop, keep the chain on the loop on my hook. So I go to the second chain, grab the yarn and I pull up a loop. Then I do something like this to make sure they're the same height. Then I go with my finger right there and I move to the next chain. I grab the yarn, I pull through, go with my fingers like this and I make sure they are the same height. Then I go with my finger and I move to the next chain. To complete row 1, I grab the yarn and I pull through the first loop, like this. I make sure the loop I have right here is a little bit loose, I don't want it too tight. And now I will grab the yarn, pull through that loop and then the next 2. Again, not too tight. Here I will chain 1, then I grab the yarn, I pull through that loop right there and the next loop. I chain 1 again. Now I grab the yarn, I pull through that loop right here and the next 2. Now I grab the yarn and pull through that loop and the next 2. I make a chain, then I grab the yarn, pull through the loop right here and the next loop. Make a chain, grab the yarn, pull through that loop and the next 2. And now I grab the yarn, pull through that loop and the next 2 loops. Here I chain 1, then I grab the yarn and I pull through that loop and the next loop. I chain 1, grab the yarn and I pull through the loop and the next 2. And here I grab the yarn and I pull through. For row 2, I lose this loop. I go with my finger right there. And now I have here 2 loops. So what I do is I go with my hook from this side in both of them. I don't go like this, I just go from that side in both of them, grab the yarn and I make a long loop. Now I have the 1 chain space where I go and I make a long loop. Go with my finger. then to the next one, just go like that, and I make a long loop. Then I have again one chain space, then the two, I take them normal and make a loop like this, and then to the next two I go from that side with my hook, and now I grab the yarn and I make a loop, and I go right here where is one chain and make a loop. Then I go on this stitch and I make another loop, on one chain space one loop, in the two of them and make a loop, and then to the next two of them go with my hook this way, grab the yarn and make a loop, then into the space make a loop right here, a loop again to the one chain, then I go into the both of them, no, right here I go like this with my hook in both of them and make a loop, and then to the last one I go on this loop and then the other one, and I make a loop. To complete row 2 is exactly how I complete row 1. Grab the yarn and I pull through the first loop. Now I grab the yarn and pull through this loop and the next two. Now I chain 1. I grab the yarn, pull through that loop and the next one. Chain 1. Grab the yarn, pull through that loop and the next two. Now I grab the yarn and pull through the next two. I chain 1. Grab the yarn, pull through that loop and the next loop. I chain 1. I grab the yarn, pull through the loop and the next two. Grab the yarn, pull through the next two. Make a chain, grab the yarn, pull through that loop and the next one, make a chain, grab the yarn, pull through the next two, and now I grab the yarn and pull through the last one. For row 3, it's gonna be just the beginning and the end a little bit different than row 2. So I will just go to the next two loops and I make one loop. Then where I have one chain, I go and I make one loop. On this loop, make one loop, one chain, make one loop, then to the next two loops, make one loop. So here I just took it like I went to the both of them and I make a loop with the hook like this and not in this way. And now here I will go like this with my hook in both loops and I make a loop. To the one chain right here I make a loop. This I take in one, make one loop, one chain, make one loop, I go in two, make a loop, again I go with my hook in both of them in this way and make a loop, and then I take everything the same way I did at the beginning. I go right here in both of them and I make a loop, and now the last one and make a loop. And to complete row 3 is exactly how I complete row 1 and 2. Grab the yarn, pull through one loop, grab the yarn, pull through that loop and the next two, make a chain, grab the yarn, pull through that loop and the next loop, make a chain, grab the yarn, pull through that loop and the next two, grab the yarn, pull through the next two, make a chain, and I pull through the next one, make a chain, pull through the next two, pull through the next two, make a chain, pull through one loop, make a chain, pull through two loops, see, and the last loop. And now I go and I repeat row 2 and then row 3, and again I go back to row 2 and then row 3.